We are, as black women, as women in general, but as black women, we're told to be strong black women. You don't cry. You got to do this, you got to do that, and you got to think of everybody else before you. And so in that narrative, we're not allowed to be soft. We're not allowed to have emotions. We're not allowed to be human. And so what I want to say with the film is you are allowed to be human. You are allowed to hurt. You are allowed to seek joy that's not from someone else. Seek it in yourself. And that's really that's what I want in my life, and that's what I want everybody to have in their life.
Wow.
How do you view yourself?
I see myself as a strong woman, just intelligent, someone of substance, generous, caring, and genuine, definitely genuine.
I would say that I'm quirky, I'm intelligent, I'm inquisitive, I'm hardworking, headstrong, stubborn, maybe a little bit sarcastic.
I view myself as independent. I don't really rely or try to rely on other people. I view myself as hardworking. I would like to think I'm funny, but some people say I'm not, but it's okay. And caring. Like, if you really have a problem, I'll try to help you out. Like, even if other people think, like, oh, well, she got herself in that situation. I'm going to still try to be like, okay, so what can we do to, figure this out? So that's how I think I
am. Sometimes I don't think I'm strong enough as a black woman because just the way that we have to work 10 times as hard as everyone else, and I feel like sometimes I'm easily fazed, but I don't know. Yeah.
How do I view myself as a black woman? Well, I definitely don't fit into a lot of the standard stereotypes as far as a black woman goes. But I consider myself black. Others may not consider me really black. That's in quotes. But, look at my skin color. I'm black, but, whatever.
I definitely sometimes feel like the world views like me being a black woman as definitely something less than, the average person. Most of the time we are not regarded with respect, honestly speaking. And it's just hard. So, yeah.
I think before I open my mouth, then I think black women are unfortunately kind of seen as at the bottom of the barrel, to be quite honest. They could just be because of my personal experiences, but I think we get a lot of shit. And I think as a black woman in America, we have to work extra hard in order to prove ourselves.
As a black woman, I feel like the world already views me as being aggressive, being combative, being uneducated, being lesser than. I feel like that's how the world views me, and then I have to work 10 times harder to prove that I'm on the same level, even though I may be above their level. So
nowadays, I think they view us as a threat, because if you look at all these uprisings that have occurred, it's been black women at the front of it. Like, for example, the Black Lives Matter movement, it was created by 3 black women. So, and now almost every we're like the catalyst of change as black women.
Tons of children from different fathers is one that's really harmful. Black women are sexualized a lot, seen as really easy. I was having a conversation with someone anonymously, or over the internet, and he had asked my race, and I said, "Oh, I'm black," and then he said he's usually really wary of having relationships with black women because they have higher rates of HIV, which is the first for me, and of course I was enraged. Wow. But I think all those stereotypes are really harmful because they can affect a black woman in her personal life, but also in her career. So, yeah.
First, she's ghetto. Like, I guess it's different for each person, but like, even like my friends, they'll be like, "Oh, you ghetto, girl." I'm like, no, like, I just talk like this, I act like this, so like, and I guess maybe it's because I did grow up in a black community, but still, it's just kind of like, that's just who I am. And they take it as ghetto, but I don't necessarily perceive it that way, and other people don't perceive it that way, so that's just like one of the stereotypes, and it's just kind of like based off the way I talk, and based off like how loud I can be at times. But for me, it's just kind of like, well, that's how I talk, so I don't get how, because the way I talk, that can automatically be assumed as ghetto. So I feel like people have this perception or viewpoint of black women that if you talk a certain way, or if that you're extremely loud in the morning, that you're automatically ghetto, when really it's not like that.
I grew up in a very suburban area, and because of that, you know, sometimes people would give me looks whenever I'd walk into maybe a higher level class, or be surprised when I would know the answer to things, and it was kind of just a bunch of like small gestures that I was constantly surrounded by, and I kind of got accustomed to that, not necessarily in the negative way, but in the way that I was so used to it that I was able to block it out.
I come to like high school, like senior year, I was ready to go, so I would just come to school in my bonnet or something, and people would be like, "Girl, take that bonnet off, you ghetto." Like, like, I'm really tired. I don't have time to be trying to impress nobody. I come here for education, so like stuff like that.
I guess I have to really put myself on, like, I don't want to say PWI mode, where it's like being very soft-toned, being very cautious, being very babying people a lot, more than I would have at my high school, so they feel comfortable. So that's one way I dealt with it, and also basically confronting people and letting them know, like, hey, you can't just go around telling people this, or that's a wrong stereotype.
Well, it's like coming from PG County to here, with the change of environment, it's kind of like making me more aware that the community or environment that I'm going to be in isn't always going to be the black community. So I'm going to have to learn to adapt and learn to get used to not always being so black, especially like when it comes to like jobs and like internships and things of the sort. So like in the future, I just need to keep that in mind, that not everybody's going to understand the whole, "Hey, sis," or anything. So I'm going to have to calm it down and be like, "Good morning. Hi, how are you doing?" So just little things like that, just remembering that who I'm around, like what their mentality is, what their culture is, and just remembering that, because people come from totally different backgrounds.
When referring to an audience that are not people of color, yes, I do find myself doing that. I feel as if that I have to sometimes raise the pitch in my voice to sound like, I guess, more congenial, because, yeah, if I don't, I don't know. I seem to be rude, I guess.
Yes. Because black culture, you can't learn it. Like, you just, other people, you know, if you're not black, then you can't become, like, you just, the way we talk, the way we think, the level of comfort, it's been ingrained in us through centuries. So at this point, it's kind of like, yes, I'm more comfortable with people my skin tone, because, like, for example, it's easier for me to, like, older black women, like, I look up to them easier than, like, older white women, you know? Like, if I'm working and I see a black woman, it's like, "Oh, hi," you know, versus, like, a white woman is kind of like, there's always the, are you going to be nice to me? Are you going to be bitchy towards me? So definitely, I am way more comfortable with those who look like me.
Your blackness is important to know. It is important to know that you are black. It's important to know who you are, because I feel like that wasn't really emphasized when I was growing up, because again, I was brought up in a culture where like I was told that I was different and I can achieve everything that I want to do in life. But actually growing up and being in the real world, I see that now, that it is important. It is extremely vital to tell your kids that who they are, like they should, like they need to embrace who they are. Your blackness is precious. Like your blackness is unique, and cherish your blackness. Cherish the color of your skin.